keep them running. All right, everyone, we've got a 5-ton HVAC system that has stopped working. Unfortunately, I'm a one-man operation, and I didn't get to show how I determined the compressor was bad, but basically it was popping the fuses. It was locked up. So getting to it, taking the fuses out. I always take the fuses out of whatever disconnect. I don't trust it. And in this case, I was able to lock and tag this unit out, which just be safe, especially if there are other people around. I was working at another facility. So these are our wires going from our capacitor to our compressor and then fan. Basically get some good pictures of these wires so that way you know where they go back. Another thing, get the screws out of where the fan assembly comes out. You got 4 of them on most of them, so 2 on each side. Get those screws out. Then the next thing you'll see, I'm kind of jiggling the wires around, just trying to figure out what wires go to what. So obviously the blue, black, and white go to the compressor. The brown, yellow, and black go to the fan. So I'll disconnect those wires to get the fan out of the way. This has a plug on the side of it. It's circular. What you want to look for, pop it off, see if there are any signs of water or interconnectivity between prongs, corrosion. And we're replacing this 130 series Copeland. So there was a dark streak here on the outside of the condensing unit. I was a little nervous about might be a leak. I was thinking it might be oil. I checked on the inside and it seemed completely fine, but then I found out this is a double layer coil set. So first thing we want to do is we've got to get this refrigerant out of here. So I'm lucky to have some nice equipment, field piece evacuator. I've got my storage tank for the recaptured refrigerant. I have a fan. I've seen people use ice and all sorts of things to keep their compressed refrigerant cool, because this tank will warm up. Basically, I'm putting it into the top of the vapor side of the tank. Turn it on, you'll notice it starts pulling the number down. If you notice by looking at these gauges, the gauges will go down with time, because basically you're pulling roughly all of the refrigerant and oil out of this system and putting it to that tank. Most industry standards are when a compressor goes bad, you do a complete pull down and put new refrigerant in, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So just sit back, take your time. It's only going to work as fast as it's going to work. So it looks like we're at about 50 psi. And one thing you'll notice about these gauges, they're kind of beat up. Our gauges, I've had them for years. They're not super duper accurate, but you can tell we're now down to about 25. I'd say this process takes roughly 20-25 minutes on this size unit. Looking at the field piece again, looks like we're pushing around 16-15 psi. Just double checking it at the gauges, that looks accurate. Looks like the liquid side's already almost down to 0, and it's close to being accurate. So back down to 6 again. Just take your time. Don't try to rush anything, because rushing just causes problems. But we're basically trying to get it down to 0, which is our atmosphere, and pretty close. So we just keep going until it finally hits 0, and we're at about 3. We're getting really close. And sometimes you'll notice that I had my red hose and my blue hose hooked up. I basically pull down both sides of the system. All right, we're at 0. I'll be turning this off and basically getting ready to start desoldering or debrazing the compressor. So close both sides, and then that way I can start disconnecting all of this equipment, close my extra tank so that way it doesn't leak out. And we're going to get ready to start debrazing the compressor. So I've got a couple Schrader valves that I want to replace while I'm doing this. So basically, when I take this blue line set off, there's a little Schrader valve like in a bicycle tire. I'm not showing you both, but I'm going to replace both of them, because when I took the caps off, it made a little kind of sound, so it seems like that was a problem. But I've got to desolder this line. This is the liquid line, and then the suction line. This is only an AC, so there is no changeover valve or accumulator. So interesting thing, I did get a gentleman come help me pull these line sets apart, and you'll notice that, see that green, see where the flame's starting to turn a little green? When the flame is starting to turn green, that means that the copper is oxidizing. At this point is when the silver brazing is actually at its hottest point, and it's going to start giving up. So you'll see it pops out fairly easy. Now the larger line set, it's a little bit of a different situation. I moved the compressor because that larger line set doesn't move as easily, and I didn't want to damage anything. So again, this 130 series Copeland, we're replacing it with its upgrade, and it's 800, but same 51,000 BTU compressors. So like I said, now when you take the plugs out of your new compressor, make sure it goes has a psst If it doesn't, it means you might not want to install it, but investigate it further. Make sure you put your rubber legs on. Another thing, make sure you really clean. The copper's got to be clean. When you go back to brazing, make sure you're flushing at about 2 to 5 SCFH of nitrogen. I don't have the video of me brazing because I'm a single man guy, but this is what it looked like. I've got some undershots. I'm not saying I'm the best brazer in the world, but what I do doesn't leak. So putting my Schrader valves back in. Everything's going pretty smoothly. I think this has been a pretty textbook job so far. Yep. And again, just do the best job you can. Again, I didn't show the process of, say, when I was nitrogen purging, because now what we're getting into is I'm going to pressurize the system, but I'll do that in another video. I'll do the brazing and the nitrogen purge. Basically, we're going to turn our nitrogen on now, and we're going to pump this system up, you know, to its operating pressure or past its operating pressure, because I want to test, number one, this dark spot in the condenser unit. So basically I'm just using soapy water, and just take it easy. Just don't leave everything jack wide open. Let it fill itself up slowly, because if you do find a weakness and you go too fast, you could wind up, you know, literally popping something apart. But lo and behold, I don't know what this dark round spot is. Maybe it's just the coating that was on this condenser, sitting around 200 psi. I'm not getting any bubbles. So again, I found out this was a double-sided coil, so this was a futile effort here. But not getting any sudsing, so to me that's a positive thing. I start sudsing these brazes on the liquid line and the suction line, and I did this multiple times at multiple pressures, and I didn't see any bubbles. It's going to look like a leak in a tire essentially. So if you notice right here in the mirror, you're going to see the bubbles just kind of hanging under there. If those bubbles are getting bigger or they seem to look like they're expanding, well, that means you've got a leak and you're going to have to rebraze. And again, if you have to rebraze, you have to repurge with nitrogen. You'd have to let this out. So I started at 200 and just really trying to work the system. And so went up to 250. Again, any questionable area, spray it down with soapy water. Got it to 300, left it there for about 45 minutes to an hour. Came back, it was still sitting at 300, so we're good. Time to vacuum down. We release the nitrogen, get your pump. Make sure your oil is clean. A lot of times I've seen some pretty dirty pumps, but just make sure that's clean oil before you start using it on this system. Hook it up with yellow to the pump, and your blue and your red back on your condensing unit. And basically you're just going to turn the pump on, and you're going to let it vacuum the system down. And again, this is going to take some time. The purpose of vacuuming, a lot of people don't really understand this. It is literally to pull it down, or to pull the atmosphere out, pull the water out. So you'll notice this gauge set, it's sitting right now at the very first line. My gauge set has never gone to -30. This is a good time to go ahead and start putting your wiring back together, however. So again, yellow, this capacitor was nice. It had yellow caps and blue. So just make sure your wires look good, tighten everything up. So right here's the sweet spot on my gauges. Between those two little lines, it held for over an hour. So you know what, let's put the fuses back in and look on the data plate, and it basically says this is factory charged to 10.1 pounds. So you'll notice I'm using 410A because that's what it came in. This is a near azeotropic blend of 32 and 125. So you put your yellow line on it. I use a scale. What you want to do is zero the scale. Notice the 410 is upside down. Most of your 400 series refrigerants need to be installed as a liquid. You got to be real careful because there's not an accumulator on this system, and so I'm doing it really slowly, because if you put too much liquid refrigerant to that compressor, you could cause damage, because it just causes resistance. So just be careful, take it easy. The worst that's going to happen is your suction line set going into the compressor at this time, it'll look like it's starting to kind of frost over. But once I got about 5 pounds in, 6 pounds in, it started actually sweating again. So absolutely no problem as far as I'm concerned. Again, just take your time. We're sitting a little over 5 pounds. I'll release a little bit, then turn it off, and then release it again. We're already sitting at 100 psi. Interesting thing about these 410As, they run a lot like the newer 32 and the 454. They're going to run about 115 to 125 psi. We'll get into superheat and supercool in another video. But basically, I've noticed all these 410s, if it's 75, 80 degrees up, you're going to be pushing 120 psi on the low side, a little over 300, around 300 on the high side. or liquid side. So all these numbers look like they're really good numbers. So we're sitting about 125 right now. Again, my gauges are not completely accurate, but we're at about 8.8 pounds. And according to the data plate, we're looking for 10.10. So we're almost there. You're never going to be completely perfect. With small refrigeration units, you have to be a lot more perfect because you're putting like 1.2 pound or ounces in. So you got to be careful. But if you wind up being a couple of ounces, even maybe a half a pound sometimes in some of these larger units, it's not going to be that big of a deal. So sitting at 9.9, we're real close. So yep, I'm fixing to call it. Try to get as close to exactly what the factory wants as possible. And now I'm going to make sure they're turned off. Yep, sitting a little below 125. And yeah, I stopped at 10.19. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. So we look at it, got it going. I noticed that the suction side is nice and sweaty. Again, not really going after temperature, but I did go in the room after about 25-30 minutes, and what the thermostat's calling for, 75, is exactly what the system's running. Okay, everyone, first and foremost, I'd like to say thanks again for making it through another video of mine. I know I missed a couple of steps. I'm a one-man show, and it was in and out of raining, so there's some terminologies that were in this video that some people just learning may not know, as in how did I diagnose the compressor, ampacity, and inrush current. So I'm going to do a separate video just so that you guys and girls can learn what those terms mean and how I determined that it was a locked up compressor. Another one with the rebrazing. Again, I'm a one-man band. I can't hold the camera and braze at the same time, as well as nitrogen purging. It's important to keep oxygen out of the environment while brazing your new equipment in so that certain impurities don't flake off into the system. But all in all, guys and girls, no matter where you are, day or night, as always, I appreciate you watching my video. If you guys, girls, have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and we'll just all, together, let's keep them running. Keep them running.